This is huge for the Phoenix Suns. It is being reported that the team is planning on hosting a second pre-draft workout for Bronny James. Yes, the most talked about player, the most talked about prospect in this upcoming NBA draft. The Suns are planning on bringing him out for another workout. We're going to look into that. We're going to look into the fact that it's being reported that other teams can't even get a hold of Bronny and what the prospects are for the Suns to possibly land. That's right, LeBron James, his dad. We're going to get into all of that today here on Suns Digest. My name is CJ Pierre. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, we noticed that about 83% of you guys haven't yet subscribed to our channel. We would like to get that number a little bit lower and reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers. So if you want to make sure you're not missing any of the latest Suns news, details on the latest rumors, draft possibilities, are the Suns going to draft Bronny James? Are they going to look elsewhere? Are they going to trade that first-round pick? Stick here with Suns Digest. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a thing. And we have got a loaded show for you today, so sit back and relax and enjoy this ride. The Suns to host Bronny James for a second workout. That is the latest report, the latest news that's coming from the Phoenix Suns as they look ahead to the upcoming NBA draft. We have talked about Bronny a lot and look into the reports of him potentially coming and being a member of the Phoenix Suns, the Suns possibly using the number 22 overall pick on Bronny. Now it's looking like there is where there's smoke, there's fire. It's looking like the Suns are showing that legitimate interest that we've talked about before in the past. Now, Bronny James was a freshman at USC last year, didn't put up the greatest stats as we've talked about before, but he is the son of LeBron James, and that brings its own cachet, if you will. Bronny has been the most talked about, the most publicized player, the prospect heading into this upcoming draft, above names like Alex Sarr, who's possibly going to be the number 1 overall pick, Bronny, who is kind of projected to be a late second round pick, and that I've never been a part of draft coverage where a second round pick is getting this much pub, but his name is Bronny James, so that comes with it. So here is the latest report coming from Dwayne Rainkin from the Arizona Republic, saying Bronny James scheduled to have a second workout this week with the Phoenix Suns. Now, as we talked about before, Bronny has only decided that he's going to work out with 2 teams, that being the Los Angeles Lakers, who also have the first round pick at number 17. They also have a second round pick, but we'll get into that a little bit later, and the Phoenix Suns, who have the number 22 overall pick. Now, as I've mentioned, Bronny's, his draft stock, if you will, is on the rise lately. He had a good showing at the NBA Draft Combine. He was able to hit some shots, show some aggressiveness, in terms of on the offensive end, and he really impressed scouts who had previously just looked at him as someone who was going to be undrafted given what he showed at USC. But once he got in front of some scouts working at the Draft Combine, he did impress, and his draft stock steadily began to rise, and that's where he got into the ranking of the late second round range, where most draft experts and anonymous GMs who have come out and talked about his potential prospects have kind of ranked him around that in the, say, 50, late 50 range for Bronny. And we look at his previous workout with the Suns, and he impressed there as well. We take a look at Rankin's previous report on that first workout, where he said James reportedly looked to work out for the Los Angeles Lakers and Suns after passing on workouts from several other teams. The son of LeBron James had a strong workout for the Suns, who put the players through a variety of drills with a focus on shooting, according to a source. Now, that is the kind of workout that is most teams are trying to look for in terms of what Bronny can bring to the table, particularly from the shooting range. We know he's athletic. We know he's versatile in terms of being a stingy defender. He's a little bit undersized, but if he's able to develop a solid shooting stroke, his draft stock could even become higher than what it is right now. So when we take a look at talk about what these other teams are trying to do, they're struggling to even get a hold of Bronny to get him in for workouts. Bronny seems to be pretty committed to the fact that he is only interested in doing workouts and meeting with the Los Angeles Lakers and the Phoenix Suns, and that is kind of just being followed through with the latest news that coming from today on ESPN, that teams have been struggling to get Bronny James into their buildings, and that is coming from A lot of sources coming around the league saying that this is just Bronny's just trying to keep his eyes on these two teams. Here's another quote coming from this report. NBA teams say they cannot get Bronny James into their building, teams that are drafting in the late 20s and 30s. The Phoenix Suns have a second workout schedule with Bronny, as we mentioned. But other than that, we have not seen any NBA team be able to work him out. The sense among teams is that his agent, Rich Paul, also one of LeBron James' closest friends, does not want him on a two-way contract, and the range he's going to be picked, the 40 to 58 range, that's where two-way contracts are handed out. So it's looking right now like Bronny is going to slide to number 55 to the Los Angeles Lakers. That's the Lakers' second. That's the Lakers' second pick in the draft. They have a first-round pick at number 17 and a late second-round pick at number 55. That's kind of where Bronny is expected to be drafted. So where does that leave the Phoenix Suns? They have that number 22 overall pick now. There's a possibility that if they want Bronny, they can just draft him right there at pick number 22. It'd be a reach. According to most NBA circles, there have been talks that the Lakers might just take him at 17. I believe that there's still a possibility for that as well. But if the Suns really want Bronny, if this is something that they're serious about, they may have to take that leap and jump and take him at pick 22 if they're not able to do something like trade back into the draft to acquire more capital. Maybe they drop into the 40s and acquire another additional second-round pick or a future second-round pick along the way. Those are definite possibilities, but they're not certainties. And the other certainty is that Bronny may not even be there at pick number 22. But coming from Shams with The Athletic, he was talking on the Pat McAfee show a few weeks ago where he talked about that the Suns are interested in Bronny James regardless of what LeBron James does. So their interest in Bronny is legitimate from that standpoint. We've talked about that as well. And the quote that he said was the Suns' interest in Bronny James is more for Bronny James. If you're the Suns, that's legitimately the perfect type of player for your system, a developmental project who could become a point guard for your team. Bronny right now projects to be a little bit more of a combo guard, but if he's able to develop some facilitating skills, which is definitely possible given who his dad is, that could be the kind of prospect that the Suns want to take. Now, do they want that kind of prospect with their first round pick? Maybe not. Maybe that kind of gives them more motivation to possibly trade back. But there's also reports out there that the Suns want to use that number 22 pick. And then there's also reports, even quotes from the owner, Matt Ishbia, that they're not really interested in their future picks and they're willing to, mortgage the future in terms of this win now mode. So we're really at the end of this day going to have to wait and see what happens. But back to Bronny and the possibility of what this could mean for LeBron James. Could LeBron James become a Sun? Now, if you look at the Shams report that the Suns are targeting Bronny before Bronny, they're not necessarily expecting that LeBron James is going to come into the fold. As we know, LeBron James is the father of Bronny, and he has been on the record saying that he'd love an opportunity to play with his son in the NBA, which has, something that has been reported, has been talked about. It's something that Bronny is kind of downplayed. It's not necessarily a goal of his that he wants to play with his dad, but nonetheless, it's a father and son. LeBron James has the ability to opt out of his contract and become a free agent. He could take a veteran minimum. He could do whatever he wants. He's got all the money in the world. So if he takes a veteran minimum, it's not going to be the biggest deal to him per se. And he's going to want to be a part of a winning formula. And what better place to do that than with Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal in a place that they're already established. They're looking for a facilitator. LeBron James, one of the best facilitators in NBA history, he could be that perfect fit. And one of the most popular sports commentators is kind of picking up on that steam as well. Bill Simmons has gone on the record, on his podcast, the Bill Simmons podcast, saying that he is hearing some steam of this Suns thing becoming a reality for LeBron James. And he says, here's a quote from his podcast, "There's a lot of Phoenix buzz right now. I'm just going to say it. I don't know if it's real or not. I think Bronny is going to go in the first round because I think that is going to be encouraged." He's talking about the agency, Clutch Sports, which LeBron and which Paul are heavily involved in. encouraged in a way that if this happens, then this will happen. So he talks about Suns owner Matt Ishbia has the same media strategist that LeBron and his camp have, and that makes me, Bill Simmons that is, a little suspicious. If you're Matt Ishbia and the draft sucks, it's not going your way, and it's like, let's get Bronny, and they're telling us that if we take Bronny, there's a chance we can get LeBron too, you have to think about it. And that's kind of been the general consensus around Bronny, not just with the Suns, but with other teams, that if there is a possibility that LeBron James will come to your team to play with his son, that incentivizes you to look into drafting Bronny and possibly drafting him higher than maybe he's projected to go. And that is kind of the cost of business at this point. Maybe you get ridiculed for drafting Bronny too high, but if you believe that there's a legitimate chance that you could get LeBron on your team as well, that's a chance that you honestly just have to consider. You have to at least think about the possibility, given that LeBron James has not made a true commitment yet to the Los Angeles Lakers. He hasn't opted into his player option, and he still has the time to opt out. We're still kind of waiting to see exactly what LeBron's going to do in that regard. I personally feel like he's going to opt out regardless and sign a new contract, even whether it's with the Los Angeles Lakers or a team like Philadelphia 76ers, who have Joel Embiid and cap space, or if it's a team like the Phoenix Suns, where he would have to take less money, obviously, because the Phoenix Suns are a second apron team, and then have the opportunity to possibly play with his son. There are probably tons of teams that are looking into those possibilities. Right now, the Lakers are kind of like the odds-on betting favorite to land Bronny. It seems like they would have the most incentive to draft Bronny, whether it be with that 17th overall pick or kind of more appropriately in the late second round. Or could the Phoenix Suns be the team that drafts him with that number 22 overall pick, or maybe they trade back a few spots down, and then we'll see where the LeBron James circus ends up going. Does he decide to stay in Los Angeles regardless of where Bronny is? Does he decide to try to find a better situation for himself, whether it be Philadelphia or Phoenix? I feel like if you're a Phoenix Suns fan, just hearing about this potential news and hearing that Bronny's going to come for a second workout, it keeps the momentum going. It makes you feel good about the direction the Suns are trying to go in, that they're at the very least trying to make moves that not only are win now moves, but they're looking at a potential prospect to build for the future. Could that be Bronny James? We'll have to wait and see. But that's just what I think. We want to know what you guys think. Hit us up in the comment section below and let us know, do you think the Suns should draft Bronny James? And if so, do you think that they should go full steam ahead and try and get LeBron James as well? We want to hear what you think. Go ahead and let us know in the comments below. But until then, we're going to wrap it up for this show. If you want to keep up with all the latest Phoenix Suns news, the latest trade rumors, possibilities for the draft and upcoming free agency, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing that we're going to have cooking for you guys over the course of this off season. That's it. That's all the time I got for you guys. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you, and we're looking forward to a crazy off season. And go Phoenix Suns.